Hey guys, MEP Guy here, and this is part 2 of my riser diagram series. In this series I'm going to go over some more techniques for tagging your pipe. We're going to talk about how to display the fixtures in different ways, and I'm also going to show you how to set up a cold water riser as well as a sanitary and vent riser. So in part 1 of this series I showed you guys how to set up this sanitary and vent riser diagram, and I promised you guys that I would show you a technique for displaying the fixtures in a more simple and riser diagram way. But before I do that, I do want to review a couple things for the setup for anybody who didn't watch the first part. So essentially what we did is we just modeled this right here on the first floor, and we made sure we disconnected all of our pipe from these horizontal pieces right here, and we also drew these vertical pieces up through the building all the way to the roof. So we have our sanitary stack and our water riser and our vent riser all there right there. And so what we essentially do is we're just tabbing into all of our fixtures and piping that's in our model, and what we're going to do is we're just going to copy that to the clipboard and we're going to paste it aligned to all the levels above. So that's going to be the 2nd through the 6th floor. Hit OK, and Revit goes ahead and copies all of our model up to all these levels, and all we have to do now is we just have to zoom in and use the trim extend command and trim the vent piping, the sanitary piping, and the water piping into our riser. And so we would have to do that for all of the levels. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue in this video now. So let's continue setting up this riser, sanitary and vent riser diagram. And I did want to go over one thing with you guys. Now, I already started tagging pipe, but essentially when you start, you're going to have to, you're going to have an unlocked view just like this. So before we tag anything, so if I go up to annotate and I go up to tag by category, and I try to tag something, it's going to say the orientation of the 3D view must be locked before you can add tags or keynotes. So we have to make sure we lock the view first. So that's down here. We're just going to click lock, and we're just going to save the orientation and lock the view. So we're going to lock this new orientation. So essentially what that does is it locks our view and allows us to start tagging things. And since it's all locked, Revit allows us to create these tags and add them to our isometric drawing just like that. Now I do want to kind of go over one technique that I did not show you guys. So since the view is locked, I can't orbit around, and I showed you guys how to select all of these pieces in a certain way. But there's actually a way where I can just duplicate this view and use it for selection only. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and just duplicate this view, and I'm just going to drag it off to the side, put it right there. And now I essentially have this little view over here that I can use for selecting my pieces. So if I hit the front button on this view, well, I have to unlock it first. So this, I'm going to just unlock this view, and now I can hit the front button. And essentially what this allows us to do is it allows us to kind of drag the pieces that we want to tag. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag down all the pieces I want, just like this. And maybe we don't want to select these pieces in here, so I actually have to deselect them in this view. So I'll hold down shift, and we'll just make sure we get into this view, and we'll just deselect all these pieces here. And now I have all the pieces that I want to be tagged so that everything is going to look nice and consistent. So I'm going to go back into this view, click into it. We're going to go to annotate, and we're going to go to tag all, and we're going to go to only the selected objects in the current view. Go down to our pipe tags, use this pipe size tag, and hit OK. So now all of our tags got updated, and they're all in the exact spot. So it just looks very clean, and I would recommend using that technique when you guys are tagging your risers at the very end when you have all your modeling done, and this is a quick, simple way to do that. Now I can just get rid of this view since I don't need it anymore. I was just using it for selections. And we're back into this view, and I'm just going to hit escape so nothing is selected. And I'm going to go ahead and hide these fixtures, and so I'm going to just hit VV and go down to my plumbing fixtures. And like I said last time, when we have all of our fixtures tagged, so let's actually go ahead and do that. So I'm going to tag all my fixtures by going to annotate, tag all, and we'll make sure we select plumbing fixtures, and we have this tags box, but we're going to make it standard. We're just going to hit OK. And at first, In my last video I showed you guys how to enter the data, but we're going to go ahead and select one of the tags, right click and say select all instances visible in view, and we're just going to use our arrow keys and kind of nudge all the tags down together, and something like that looks about right. Now I showed you guys when you go to VV, Visibility Graphics, and we go to Plumbing Fixtures, and when we uncheck this Plumbing Fixtures, when I hit apply, all my plumbing fixtures disappear, and that's okay, but at the same time all of my plumbing fixture tags disappeared. So I'm going to show you guys a couple methods that you can use to kind of get around this, but also display the fixtures in kind of a cool way. So let's go ahead and hit cancel, because we don't want to do that. So we have our fixtures right here, and what I went ahead and did is I did something kind of tricky. So I'm going to actually change the detail level to coarse and watch what happens. So essentially I went into the plumbing fixture itself and I turned all of the 3D geometry, the solid geometry, invisible, but then I drew these model lines in right here to kind of represent the fixture. Now you guys can do anything you want. I kind of just did this really quick, but I wanted to show you guys the options you have. I do like kind of displaying the fixtures in some graphical way, because you can easily see them on the riser and you know exactly what the fixture it's being connected to. So I know that these are urinals and I know they're not, you know, a water fountain or a lavatory. So that is kind of an advantage to using these little graphics. Now I'm going to show you what these actually look like. So I'm going to just click my family. We're going to go to edit family. That's essentially the toilet. So let's just click on it. And as you can see, this is my toilet, and I went ahead and, like I said, I selected all of the geometry in here. I filtered it, and the only thing I had selected was plumbing fixtures. And what I did is I just changed this visibility right here, and I turned everything off in the coarse view only. So when it's on coarse view, none of this 3D geometry right here is going to show up. The only thing that's going to show up is this model line right here. Now if I go to my visibility graphics right here, you can see that the only thing turned on in the detail level of coarse is this model line. So when I have the coarse detail level selected, this shows up. So I'm going to hit OK here. We're going to load that back into the project. Now you have to be able to draw this model line on a plane, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that on my website at mepguy.com, and I'm also going to have this whole project for you guys to download, and also all the tags and stuff associated, so you guys can kind of mess around with it if you want, and maybe you know, learn a couple things or use any of these things in here. So we have this this water closet just like that. Now what you guys can also do, instead of having the model line, you guys can totally just get rid of that, or don't do that. So I'm going to go to my visibility, and we're going to actually just turn this off as well. Or yeah, we'll just hit yes, and that's okay. Now I'm going to actually just turn all of the geometry off in general. So let's just select all the 3D geometry again. So the only thing we're going to select is plumbing fixtures, and I'm going to actually turn it off completely in the coarse view. So the only thing, there's going to be nothing available in the coarse view. So now we're going to load this back into the project, and now you can see that the model lines have been removed. So I can go ahead and select my tags, select all instances visible in view, and we can just deselect all of our urinal tags over here. And since we still have the water closet tags, so I can use the shift and kind of just nudge those up. And like I said, you guys can use, you know, you don't have to use graphics. You can just display it like this. And the tags will always be correct, because they will be, you know, taking the data from that plumbing fixture. So you can do it like that for sure. But I just wanted to show you that little graphic method. So let's continue on. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that my urinals could be in a better location. So I could have like adjusted this a little better. And if I ever want to change the adjustment of my riser, I can't do it, because anytime I unlock this view, all of my tags are going to disappear. So I can't really reorient this view. But what I could have done is, when I was selecting all of my pieces of pipe, I should have saved that selection. So I'm just going to show you guys what I mean right here. So I'm going to, you know, select a few of these pieces, maybe just these right here, and then this one right here, and maybe, yeah, we'll just do those right there. And what I should have done is I should have went up here to save selection. And what that will allow me to do is if I ever make a mistake, I can always save this selection and come back, and I can just quickly select all the pipe I want to tag real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as sanitary riser tag selection. I'm going to hit OK. And remember, that was only these pieces of pipe that are in blue right now. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock my view now. And like I said, once I unlock the view, all the tags go away, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. I'm going to hold shift and we're just going to orbit this around, and I'm just going to get a better view. And you should probably set this up, make sure everything is perfect before you start, doing all your tagging. But I just wanted to show you this little technique. So now that I have that in a better orientation, I can quickly just go back to my selection by going to manage, and then I can go to this load selection button, and it's going to list all of the selections that I have saved. So I can just select sanitary riser tag selection, hit OK, and you'll see that same selection set got saved. So I can quickly just go back to my annotate and tag all, and we have to lock the view again, so let's just do that. Let's lock this view. So I'm going to save orientation and lock view, and we're going to lock the new orientation, and then I'm going to go back to my manage, load selection, and that's why you should always save those selection sets. Anytime you do a big selection, make sure to save it, because you're always going to want to have that big selection saved. So we're going to go to annotate, and we're going to go to tag all, and again we'll just go down to pipe tags, and it's going to use this tag right here. I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to tag all my pipes. So I should have done that throughout this whole selection set, but I just wanted to show you that little tip right there. So let's continue. I'm going to go ahead and create another riser diagram for my water riser. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have this nice riser already kind of saved. So I'm actually going to utilize this. So I already have this one. So all I have to do is right click on this guy right here, and I'm just going to duplicate the view. And I don't need to duplicate with detailing because all of my tags for my water lines are going to be completely different. So I'm just going to hit this duplicate button, and that's going to duplicate my view just like this. So what I'm going to want to do now is we're going to go to Visibility Graphics by VV. And remember that in the first video, I showed you guys how to change the filters. So our filter should still be here, right here. So for this, I'm going to deselect. I don't want to show the vent, so I'm going to uncheck visibility for the vent and the sanitary, but I do want to show my domestic cold water system. So I'm going to click apply here, and you'll see that it changes to only my domestic cold water. So I'm going to hit OK. And our fixtures aren't displaying, so maybe we go back to that medium level of detail. And now our fixtures are displaying again, and maybe for this I do want to display my fixtures. Now I don't like really how this looks, so maybe I also want to orient this riser. So we're going to unlock this view, and now I can kind of move this into a spot that looks a little better. So maybe something like this, because I still want to see this piece of pipe right here, and I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we want to also orient this something like this so you can kind of see that water line going up, but that's completely up to you guys how you want to display things. So this time we want to start tagging our pieces of pipe, so we have to lock the view. So let's go to save orientation and lock view. So now that the view is locked, I want to basically tag all of these pieces, but I don't really need to tag these little pieces right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a dragging selection. We're just going to go straight down here, and I'm going to select this portion right here. I'm going to hold my control button. We're going to select this little portion right here. Do the same thing. So that's looking good. And then we're just going to select these pieces right here. And then we're just going to deselect these pieces right here. So everything in cyan is going to be essentially selected. So we're going to actually filter that to only the pieces of pipe. So I'm going to deselect my plumbing fixtures. And like I said, what we should do anytime we make a big selection like that is we should save our selection set, and we'll just name this cold water riser selection. So now that everything is still selected, I'm going to go to annotate, tag all, go to our pipe tags, hit OK, and everything is looking pretty good. Now I have not changed the system abbreviation, so let's do that because these pipe tags are actually reading the system abbreviation. So I'm going to select one of my pieces, I'm going to go up to piping systems, and I showed this in the last video, so I would recommend watching that first. So abbreviation is going to be cold water, CW. Just going to click OK here, and now you can see cold water displays on all my pieces of pipe. Now we could change the scale right here to something that fits a little better, so maybe we want to use 3/8, and we can make it any scale we want, but that looks pretty good. So now my pieces or my tags fit a little better inside my pieces of pipe. Now, one of the more tricky things is I want to tag these little pieces over here, or maybe I want to tag the pieces right here, and I'm not going to be able to use this typical pipe size tag going up and down. I mean, I can, so I'm just going to use TG here, and I can do that, but it kind of looks a little sloppy. I'd much rather use like a leader tag or something. So I'm going to show you guys a little method for doing that real quick. So what I can do is I can select all the pieces that I want. So I'm just going to hold Control, and we're just going to do it on these two levels right here. So these are the pieces I want to tag. So I'm going to go back to my annotate. We're going to go to Tag All. And this time I'm going to select a different type of tag. So instead of this pipe size tag, I'm actually going to use this pipe size tag with leader, and it's called loop. And this is a tag I've created, and you can get this at my website, mepguide.com. So, and this time I want it with a leader. So I'm going to click that little leader, and you can actually change whatever leader length you want, but it's not really going to matter too much for this. So I'm going to hit OK. And the reason I did that is so I can have control of how each one looks, and I can get them to line up perfectly. So now I can just select all of these little tags, and again we can use our arrow keys, and we can even go to the right just like that, and that looks about good. So I would want it to do that for all of those pieces throughout my whole riser so that they're all consistent. And these are just things I think that really help make your drawings look really nice and consistent, and also save you a lot of time. If we tried to do this each one separately, it would take a lot of time. Okay, so let's go ahead and tag our plumbing fixtures. So remember how to do that. So let's go to Annotate, Tag All. We'll go down to Plumbing Fixture. We'll use this fixture tag standard, hit OK, and our tags show up. So we have to select them, right click, go to Select All Instances, Visible in View, and we're just going to zoom out, and I'm just going to use the Shift and hit the down arrow, and we'll hit the down arrow a couple more times, maybe some more, maybe a little more, and I think that looks pretty good. Now we're just about done, guys. The last thing I want to show you guys is if you want to add text to your drawings, it's pretty easy to do. All you have to do is go up here and click the text button, and just make sure the size is correct. So we don't want a 1/4 inch, we want 3/32. And I'm just going to use the little leader, so I'm going to click this button right here, and maybe I want to point out this location right here, and I'm just going to say provide shut off valve. And then I'm just going to click this little guy, and we're just going to orient this little leader just like that, and I can always drag this to however I like, and that looks pretty good. And if you want to create multiple text in the same location, again I would just select this piece right here, and just like in CAD we would want to copy it to a location that is the same. So maybe we can use this point right here, and I could copy it down throughout all of this riser just to make it look consistent, or I could even use the array command to do that. But what I would recommend, anytime you start to do notes like this, first of all, if you ever have to change the note, it's going to take a lot of time, so I would never do something like this. What I would recommend doing is just make sure to let the reviewer or contractor know that this is a typical situation, okay? And that just lets them know that this shut-off valve that needs to go right here is typical throughout, and as long as you show it graphically, it is good. So I'm going to actually show you guys you know, what the shut-off valve would look like right here. So I'm going to actually go to my Systems command and Pipe Accessory, and I've already loaded this little ball valve, but you can get it in the Revit library, and we're just going to add it to our drawing right here. So I'm just going to click, and right now we're in the coarse level, so we can actually rotate this, and this is what the ball valve looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and go to fine level of detail, and you can see this ball valve is actually then load it into the family. And this actually exists in the model, so it's not just here on my riser, it's actually in my model. So I'm going to go back to my medium level of detail, and that looks really cool. So I love the way this little valve looks in my riser as well. So you can just use ball valves and any valves you need to use. But I also have a lot of tricks and tips on how to get custom annotations to look correct in your ball valves and all that stuff, and I will definitely put that in my course because I think it's a very complicated topic and it's not super easy. So you can check out my ball valve video as well. Now I'm sure I could talk about a lot more things we could do with these risers, but I hope this video was very a simple guide to how you can get started in understanding how to create these riser diagrams. Please let me know in the comments if you guys want to see anything else that has to do with riser diagrams. I really do love this kind of stuff. And one really cool thing that I definitely will show in my course is I will show how to get these tags to read the velocity of the water and also the GPMs and the fixture units, so that we can use this riser diagram to not only display our piping in our fixtures, but also to help us with calculations and size our piping. So I will definitely show that in my course, and just stay tuned for more videos. And I really appreciate all the guys who have been liking the videos to help spread the word to more people, because it helps grow our community. And hopefully all the dialogue that you guys have been giving me in the comments has been great. The next video I'm going to do is it's going to be on sloped piping, because I know that you guys want to see some techniques on how to do sloped piping, and I have a lot of different ways of doing slope piping, so make sure to look out for that video next. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy your weekend or day, and I will see you later.